What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. I have another addition to the HOM FPV line. This is the wingsuit inside this sort of velvet pouch, and over here in this one is the Micron. I'm going to take this out and show you this. We're going to fly it today on 2 and 3S, and I have to say the good news about the little brother to the wingsuit is that this little guy flies really well on 3S, and it will do either cinema or freestyle. It is very similar to other caged whoop, if you will, style quads out there. We've got the Hey Tina that I just had on the channel yesterday, and check that out. They're very similar, but no guys, it's not a clone of the Hey Tina. It is its own thing. It is a carbon sandwich design with removable prop guards. It also comes with some foam bumpers that you can put on there if you like to, but I'm not a big fan of the foam on there. I guess if you're a beginner, it's nice to have those foam bumpers on there, and I'll show you all the stuff that comes in the box coming up after the flight part of the review. But it has a good combination of power system on here right away that I like and enjoy. I've been building and flying micros now for coming up on like 7 years, so a long time for flying micros. We have 1104 motors on here with the Cadex Vista on here, and it's nice. It is the Nebula version. I believe it's a Nebula V2. It's an F4 flight controller, and the nice thing about it is that it has 3 bolts on the top, 3 bolts on the bottom. It releases a single prop guard here, so if you do break one, you can replace that pretty quickly. It did not, however, like the Hey Tina, come with any extra prop guards, but the cool thing about it is that it is quite durable. I did crash it on the concrete, whereas I crashed the Hey Tina on the concrete, and I've flown several versions of this one this year, and these little prop guards always break when they hit the concrete. So most everything in the hobby does, but these held up, and they're a lot more durable than the Hey Tina. So in my opinion, this one's kind of like the tougher version of a Hey Tina. It does have sort of a almost an X design, but not quite. It is sort of a front end sort of pushed out camera dead cat style. It has these 2 arms swinging out this way, and you have extra reinforcement here on each of those prop guards, so that's kind of nice. It's just a little bit more strut support than what we have on the Hey Tina. So and it's a completely different material. Whatever this is, it feels a lot like that ProTech 35 type of either injection molded ABS or polycarbonate. So you can't even bend it in with your hands. So it will take quite a beating. But cool thing is that again, it flies extra amazing, and I wasn't expecting this little guy to freestyle the way it does. I love the size and the power system on here. With the 2306 props, we have the Cadex Vista with digital, and I can really see what I'm doing, and it is just a joy to fly freestyle or cinema. So let's go ahead and fire it up on a 3S 450 and a 650 battery. I've got some of those batteries left over from my OMP M2 hobby helicopter. It's a little 3D helicopter. These batteries are perfect matchup for this little guy. So let's do some flying with the Micron, and let me show you how badass this quad actually is in the air. We'll do a little bit of playing around with some straight ahead flying, some cinema style stuff, but mostly I'm gonna just do some parking lot ripping with the Micron. That's pretty much what this little guy is, in my opinion. It'll do indoor, outdoor, freestyle, or cinema. Here we go. All right, guys, welcome back into the fun part of the review. We're gonna open this box. I'm gonna show you what comes in the box with the Micron 2-inch HD edition. This one is $269. There's also another version that's analog if you want this style drone, 2 and 3S, little cinema or freestyle ripper. Around, I believe it's around $135 for the analog version. So let's go ahead and open this box up. It is on pre-order as well right now, guys. So this one is brand new still. Let's FPV together as we always do on the channel, right? You get some other stuff in here, and I gotta say, man, HOM, they have a great presentation. They have a really nice presentation as far as what you get in the box. I love these like velvet pouches that come along with this. So the HOM wingsuit also came with that pouch, and this is like the big brother to the Micron 2-inch. And then you've got the little Hey Tina there. And we'll just give you some comparison about all three of these because they are similar cage style cinema rigs. And this one is great because you can do freestyle or cinema with it. Again, I think the tune could be a little bit better on this guy, but the cage system is extremely durable, and I think this cage system is more durable than the wingsuit. The wingsuit has a lightened up sort of prop guard around these inverted motors. These are 2.5-inch gem fan props, and these are 2036 gem fan Hokies. And this is a very smooth and quiet prop. So if you're looking for a quad that's a little quieter than the 3-inch class Cinewhoops, these are way quieter, but they still do have a little bit of a high-pitched whine to them. They get really wound up on a 3S battery, and the flight times that I was getting with a 450 3S battery, this is another one of those Kratos batteries from HGLRC, I was getting around 4.5 minutes on this battery if I'm just cruising, kind of parking lot flying. And then the 3S 650, I'm able to get 6 to 7 minutes. If you put an 850 on here, which is getting a little bit heavy, you can do that. You'll get around 10 minutes flight time. So if you want much longer flight time, a little less performance, you can go with the heavier battery. Just depends on what you want or how you want to fly this little guy. The most fun that I had flying this guy was absolutely the freestyle aspect of this quad. It flies, again, it flies better than the Beta FPV 95X, and in this inverted motor sort of trend, the Beta FPV 95X was the best flying, and this one flies better than that. And the flips and rolls are super tight. It feels really good on the freestyle tune. I think as far as the cinematic tune, again, it could probably be a little bit better. But the first couple of flights, the camera was loose. So you did see some jello there because the camera was basically flopping around. So from the manufacturer, you want to make sure that these cameras are tight. And go over this entire quad with a 2mm driver before you fly it. Especially tighten up the nuts going to your props and the bolts on top here. Well, the bolts on your props and the bolts on the motors. Make sure those are tight because they will fly off. And you could just put a little tiny dab of Loctite on your motor bolts just to double check that everything stays in place. Now we do have what looks like a 1.5mm top plate and bottom plate, maybe 2 mil. It might actually be 2, but it looks like a fairly quick release. We've got 8-bolt bottom plate release and 6, actually 2 in total here. Let's see, 2 on the bottom, 2 on the top. So that's kind of a quick release there. I thought it was 3, but it's actually 2 on each prop guard. So if you broke one of these and had to replace it, that's pretty quick. It's 4 bolts total to take off one of these. That's actually a cool design. On the bottom, I've got my inverted CADX Nebula here, and we have the flight controller up top. That's an F4 flight controller, able to run up to 3S. And this little guy came to me all wired up to the flight controller, so all I had to do was bind this up to my DJI radio, and I was ready to go. So if you already have the DJI radio, that's good news for you guys. If you want to add on your own receiver on here, it should be able to take TBS Crossfire, XM Plus, or RXSR type receivers, Spectrum and Futaba. And the neat thing about these prop guards, aside from the 4-bolt release, is underneath here to be able to get to your Vista. It looks like a huge cage and looks really hard to get to, but they included this cool little USB-C cable that is not on a long wire, and typically what we see here is something like this, and this is not a 90-degree cable. It's kind of hard to get to that. You wouldn't be able to do it, but this goes in and you can make any angle you want because you don't have that big cable there, and they've already decased everything. So that's kind of cool. I've never seen a company include something like this. This is a really handy little thing. I think I might have to try to hold on to this thing if I ever get rid of this quad and just give them something else. But typically what you guys see on these style sort of cage whoops is this little 90-degree Android style. And Gep makes them, Diatone makes them. Diatone Tina came with one, and they seem a little bit awkward and hard to get to, the flight controller and the HD systems on here. But this one is nice because the wingsuit has it out the back right there, and to get to Betaflight they made it pretty easy. They didn't give me a cable for Betaflight, but you'll need an Android style cable, and they put an extension off the back right here, right in the back, so you can just easily put your cable right there and go straight into Betaflight. And this is the Nebula version 1, and the nice thing is that they have two pieces of carbon here on top and a piece on the bottom, and this is separate from that top and bottom plate, give you a little more camera protection. And then they also have that aircraft aluminum up front for camera protection for your Nebula, and you want good camera protection for your HD system. The wingsuit, however, doesn't have so much camera protection. She's kind of just riding out front right there, and this one is just flat up to the front, so it should give you pretty good crash protection if you come in for a crash, unless you just hit that perfect rock and it takes out your camera, which I have done. It also has double reinforced struts on the outside edge of each one of these prop guards, and they do feel way more intense than the Tina Whoop prop guards. These always tend to break, and that's why they give you 4 extras in the box with this one. So if you're an ultimate beginner, that one's the one to go for, in my opinion. It comes with the radio link transmitter. All you need to do is get yourself a charger, and the charger that I'm using right now, both of them, the M4Q, it's a quad charger, and I'm also using the Toolkit RC M6D. It has 2 ports, and the M4Q has 4 ports, which is nice. You will need some converters on those, by the way, because this does have an XT30, and this is a converter from XT60 port to your XT30, and that way you'll be able to charge these little batteries. So the good news about this quad is that the flight time is actually pretty good. You're looking at about 4 minutes on this 450 battery, 3S 450. If you're a beginner, you can start out on a 2S battery, and then my favorite battery, getting me up to about 7 minutes flight time, was the 3S 650, and you can even put an 850 on there, but the 850 is going to be really big on there. So here's an example of an 850. Well, that's a 4S, but an 850 would be 3S 850 be somewhere around the size of this guy. So it's going to get pretty intense, and it's going to fly a lot slower. It's not going to probably be very fun to freestyle. For long range cinema, you could do that, but my suggested battery is the 3S 650 on there. Now also in the box you get 2 sets of 30 or 2036 props. These are standard 2-inch props. We've got also 1104 6500 kV motors running those props with a 2-bolt, 4 bolts through the top, inverted motor design, which is cool. 6500 kV is a pretty high-end kV for this particular quad, so it has a really nice sort of high throttle punch out. And we also have 20 amp ESCs on this little guy, so I feel like I could run 4S on here, but I wouldn't try it. I don't have good luck running 4S on these cage quads. I burn up a Haytina doing that. So I was flying a lot of 4-inch or 4S quads at the time that were about this size. They were making a lot of 4S ones, and I just by chance plugged in a 4S and fried one of them after about 30 seconds of flying, unfortunately, about 6 months ago. And also in the box you get a packing list here. You get a Type-C cable, 2 sets of props, flight controller connection here. Shows you where to put the beeper and where to put Crossfire on UART1, S-Bus, or SRXL2, or it will accept DJI VTX or analog VTX, which is cool, on UART2. And it does also have a 5-volt VEC built into it. You have QR codes here for hopping off to the manual. The default motor direction is a props out configuration on this quad as well, so props out, a little smoother. And they also have an Instagram and Facebook, and an HOM FPV actually seems to be a shoot off of Transtech, so I keep seeing Transtech information on a lot of these types of materials included with their stuff. You get some extra stickers, and you get some quick on and off style phone guard if you want to. If you're a beginner, start out with these. It says quick on and off, but I'm wondering how many times this would come on and off before these little stickies stop working. So once you put these on there, they're kind of probably going to be stuck there unless you figure out how to just maybe put another piece of 3M VHB on here, and you can make that stick again. 3M VHB, if you don't know about it, look that up on Amazon and grab yourself some of that. But it looks pretty cool with the foam bumpers on there, but it will change the flight characteristic of this quad when you do that. It will give you more washout possibly if you're trying to freestyle. If you're doing cinema or you're just learning how to fly, put these on there and you'll have a really almost indestructible type of quad. Now we also got 2 different camera mounts as well in here. You get an extra TPU naked GoPro mount, which is awesome. It mounts right to the front right here. You can change the angle, and you also get a little tiny Insta360 Go mount, which also fits up here. So if you want to do some better cinema quality than just the DVR, you can do that with this quad. But let's go ahead now and let's put it on the scale, and let's see how it compares to the other whoops here. Alright, so this should be well under 250 grams, guys. If I can figure out how to get it on this little tiny scale, I will do it. 108.8 grams. That is pretty crazy. I'm not sure how I got that to balance, but that's super light. And then the Haytina, we're looking at super light, 63.6 grams. And the wingsuit, we're going to be looking at 140.3 grams now with a 3S 650, but honestly I'm flying 4S 850 on this baby. The biggest battery that you can possibly squeeze on here. It's going to get you over, actually get you right about, make sure that's not sitting funny, under 250 grams with an 850, so that's pretty awesome. But when you add your Insta360 Go on there, it's going to make it a little bit heavier, so keep that in mind. And let's go back to the Micron here. Let's put the 3S 450 on there, 151 grams. And if you're flying the Insta360 Go, let's just go ahead and put that on there for fun, because I have one right here. 169 grams, 169.9. That's awesome, because way under 250 with my little 1080p stabilized camera. And not forgetting the mount as well. Let's just put that on there. Throw that on there, 173.1. So with the bolt on there, maybe another half gram. But that's really fantastic. And now let's go ahead and put the 650 on there. That's the 3S 650, 167 with the mount, 170 with the Insta360 Go. Still way under 250 grams. So that is looking really good. So some final quick thoughts about the Micron series. Is it worth the $269? It depends on what you want. It depends if you want something sort of compact with an ultra beastie design that is probably tougher than the others out there at this class and this size on the 2-inch props. This is probably the most durable one out there that I can think of. It is going to be more durable than the Beta FPV 95X or the 85X. It's going to be way more durable than the Haytina, and I think it's more durable than the wingsuit from HOM. So it's so light that when it hits, these prop guards just kind of bounce, and it's got a really low profile, so I was able to kind of skirt under my van and get away with some really crazy stuff flying this one. And at first I thought going up to 1104 with the 3S 650 battery that, oh man, this is gonna sag my battery and this power system is just gonna like totally be a beast and puff my lipos, because you get to 1104, 1105, 1106 and it starts to get more intense on your batteries at this size. And yesterday I was flying the Haytina with the 1103s, and 1103s tend to be softer on your batteries, but this one produced more sag on some of my older batteries. I mean, you saw, if you go back and watch that video, you'll see the battery drop from like 12.6 immediately when I plugged it in down to like around 11 volt. So this one had, for some reason, less efficient type of power system on there for these batteries. So this one does really well with that. Freestyle is good. And again, I think the Cinema needs work, but I'm happy that they include all the extras with it. It would be nice if you guys had a hard case for it, but I think that the velvet pouch is pretty sweet. And I think this is a really awesome release, again, from HOM FPV. I'm kind of always looking forward to seeing these bags show up, because usually what's inside the bag is a lot of fun to fly, well designed, and I think they're absolutely worth the money. If Transtech has reinvented themselves with HOM, they're doing a damn good job. So pick one of these up at the link down below and you will love it. If you do, please, like, dude, let me know what you think about it when you get it in the mail. And a lot of you guys are like on the fence about buying DJI goggles because you're waiting for next year, but buy them now and you will never look back from digital. It is just so crazy awesome. Thanks again for watching, guys. I'm Justin Davis. Micron 2, super cool. I love this one. I'll see you on the next one.